Hi, I'm Gabriella, welcome to my channel. It's the beginning of September, that's back to school, back to university for everyone. And I see a lot of people posting a lot of advice about going back to school, going back to university, being a student, all the things to expect. The one type of sort of educational video I don't see is advice for people running clubs and societies. So I've done a lot of that. When I was in university, I was on committee for 2 different clubs, societies at the same time during my 3rd year, as well as a bit before in 2nd year. So I know a lot about all this sort of stuff. And I thought, seeing as it's freshers, I would do a sort of checklist or like run through of tips for running a stall at Freshers Fair. If you're on committee, you'll probably have people on committee with you who have been on committee before, done a fair before, but in case you're setting up a new society or you just want to check that you've got everything that you need to have covered, I'm gonna kind of go through all the things I can think of that will help you with your Freshers Fair to get in as many freshers as possible and hopefully make this the best year possible for your club or society. So, first things first, when you're planning your Freshers Fair, you might have already had to decide this, but picking a spot is quite important. You might not get any choice in this, you might have already had to make your choice, but if you haven't yet made your choice, if it's a case of turn up on the day and bag a stall, you should try make sure that you are next to similar stalls. Because if you're near other like things, then if people are going and looking at that stall, your stall might also catch their eye if it's something similar. If they're very busy, maybe you can try start speaking to some of the people at their table. And also, if you know that people are going to be looking for your stall, then it makes you easier to find if you're in sort of the logical area. The University Students' Union will probably try help you with that. They'll probably try want you to be in a specific area if you are a specific club or society. But if you can make sure that you're near other similar stalls, that can really help you out. Forgot to mention, but also really useful, can be having your stall in a really high traffic area, whether that's by one of the main entrances or another stall you know is going to get a lot of people going to it. For example, 2 years running, one of the stalls I was on, we were right next to the Domino's stall where they were giving out basically free Domino's all day. So there were a lot of people coming past all the time, and that meant that lots of people were walking past our stall and more likely to see it. Second thing is try set a rota. Try not to have the same people on the stall all day. Sometimes if you've got a small committee, that's unavoidable. But if you have enough people on committee or willing volunteers from your club or society, then try get a rota sorted so you don't have people on all day, because you will get exhausted and you won't be in your best form to be selling your club or society to everyone. So you want to make sure that everyone's rotated nicely. If you are going to have to stick around for a while, make sure you've brought nutrition with you, food, energy drinks, anything you're going to need to get you through the day. Make sure you have stuff with you, because if you're on the stall all day, or even if you don't have very many breaks, you might not have time to go and get something proper to eat, so bring something with you. At the same time, still talking about rotas, try not to overcrowd your stall. Surprisingly, there is such a thing as overcrowding your stall. You don't want too many people behind it. What can be good is having some people on the stall and some people wandering around the fair. So if people aren't rotated to be on the stall, they're still in the area. So if you get really busy, you can get someone to call them up and drag them over to help you out. When you're trying to sell things to people, it can help if not everyone's as used to, or perhaps they don't feel as comfortable talking through things, or even just to try and get people's attention as they're walking past. It can be quite good to have sort of a set, maybe phrase or a couple of key points that you know you want to get across to all freshers. So you can have a list of things like, we're a mixed gender sport, or we're top of our Bucks league, or free sessions every Friday or something. You might not need to, but it might be useful just to have a few selling points that everyone on your team, on your table, knows, and it can just be a useful go-to phrase if you need something to shout at people going past. You'll probably develop them as you go through the day. You'll probably all end up shouting out the same sorts of things towards people, but it can be helpful to decide those beforehand, especially if you've got some people who are a bit nervous about being on the stall. And then that can also help when you actually draw freshers in and start a full conversation with them. You know there's a few points that you want to hit because those are your main selling points. If you've won an event, or you've got loads of members, or a really cool social coming up, let them know. And if you have that list, it'll help you remember everything that you want to say. Speaking of key things to highlight, If you've won any trophies, any awards, if you have the trophies or awards, put them on your stand. Let people know without even saying anything that your club's gone and won things, like you are a good club to join. But also on the other hand, if people come up, don't be afraid to tell them that you have a recreational team or you take things very chill. There's a chill evening once a week. Because that's my next point. Talk to everyone. Don't go into it. It can sometimes be a bit tempting, especially I think with sports teams, to think, oh, we only want people who look like this because they're more likely to be good at this sport. Talk to everyone. You don't know who is secretly the next best whoever. Like, you don't know who the most enthusiastic people are going to be. If you're, say, the rugby team, you might get a whole load of people turn up who've been playing rugby all through school. Yeah, they're really good, but they might get bored and decide, oh, we've played rugby for ages. We've done this taster session, but I think we're gonna go try something new during university. So they might not stick around, whereas you might get someone who hasn't done much before but has a natural aptitude and it picks up really fast and gets really good. So yes, maybe more of a sports thing. I guess it can be also tempting to kind of look through the crowd for the friendly faces, people who kind of aren't walking straight past, but just try talk to everyone. They may not have noticed you, they may be like overwhelmed by everything that's going on because Freshers' Fair is really busy, and so they may not be looking terribly cheerful, but just try and sell it to everyone because you never know who that person's going to be, and they might be the next most dedicated member of your club or society. They might be on the committee next year for all you know. A great bit of promo that you can do, because often universities won't allow you to promote your stall if you're not actually standing on it. But one sort of sneaky thing you can do is if you're wearing your own club or society's merchandise, your own t-shirt, and walking around the fair, someone might see that and be like, oh, I didn't know my university had that club, that society. They might come up to you and ask you, oh, where's your stall? Or even ask you about it themselves, how do I sign up? And so just by wearing your club or society's merchandise, you're walking propaganda. Like, take every opportunity. Every single opportunity that you get. Also, some universities have demonstration areas. If there is any possible way you can think of doing a demonstration of your club or society, use it. Because it's usually in a big demo area where lots of people can see you, and it will just bring more attention to your club or society. People love free things, especially at Freshers' Fair. If you have free things on your table, people will take notice. So sweets are always just a really great cheap option. Just be like, sign up and you get sweets, or even just have free sweets on the table. People have to come over and get them. That's a perfect opportunity for you to start talking as much as you can about your society. Stickers are another one I've seen, because then that's actually something of your club. If you have stickers with your logo on or something, people will take free stickers and then they'll come across them later and they'll be like, oh, what is this? This is a cool sticker. And then they might actually look into it. There was a girl who joined one of my clubs who turned up 6 months after Freshers' Fair because she suddenly found these stickers that we had given her and decided to come along. It works. Snow Sports at my university handed out free t-shirts to anyone who went up to their stall during Freshers. I still have mine. I never went along, I never did anything, but I know that my university has a very good snow sports society because I have this t-shirt and they're everywhere, and I feel like if at a moment's notice I want to go along and join up, I feel like I could because I've got their t-shirt. I mean, t-shirts is a lot more of an investment. I know snow sports, like at my university, was a very big thing. They had a big budget, so they could afford to do things like that. It's just another thought of free things. And you can also do, sign up to our email list and get free sweets, free sticker, whatever. People will just be going around signing their email down like crazy, so don't waste an opportunity to get people's emails. Speaking of emails, have iPad sign-up lists or a computer sign-up list. Do not have paper ones because people write down. People have messy handwriting, okay, and it can be very difficult to decipher them later, and also it's a lot of effort putting them then onto the computer. If you get them to sign up on a document, like on an Excel spreadsheet, or get them to fill out a Google form, there and then you have all of the emails on a list, nice and easy, on the computer, ready to copy and paste into MailChimp or something. to start sending out mass emails. Don't get people to write things down. It's so messy. I don't know why people do it still. Great thing to have can be flyers or business cards. Business cards are really cute, like just all the contact information and how you get hold of them, but flyers, a bit bigger, you can actually put a lot of information on them. Try not to overcrowd with information, but also get the essentials on there. So that can be things like where and when you meet, any socials coming up, maybe if you've won anything, like, or you have a big sort of selling point of your club, and basically lots of photos of you guys having fun. You can get flyers and business cards very reasonably priced. You can get really nice ones done up. I can't remember the website that we used. I think I've got a few thousand for like 20 quid or something. It's very reasonable, and also the club or society will usually have a budget. The university, the Students' Union will usually give each club and society a bit of starting funds. Even if you put money out on the table to start with yourselves, you can make that back through membership fees. It's a good first investment. Another thing that you can also get from similar websites are big roller banners. Again, you don't need to overcrowd with information, but just having a massive banner by your table means people can see you from a mile away, and also gets the key information down if everyone on the stand is too busy to talk. You've got all the key information there. I mean, you might also, I've seen people with the big ceiling banners hung from the ceiling. Just basically anything you can do to try and show people, this is our stall, this is what we do. The louder you shout, the more people are going to hear you and come over. Another useful thing that people can maybe look at and get information from while you're talking to other people, or just to have a look without feeling the pressure to talk to someone, is have a video running on a laptop. Create a video of like top moments from the year, film stuff during the year and compile it into a video, or even just a slideshow of photos going around with some music playing. You won't always be able to hear music or sound. It can be very difficult to hear things, so make sure that whatever your video is, it's very clear from just watching it what exactly is going on, because videos can just be interesting to watch, people can get drawn into them, and it's just another useful selling tool. I think that's all of my tips for the fair itself, but I just want to really quickly talk about what to do after the fair to keep people interested, make sure people come along. Because it's all well and good talking to loads of people at the fair, but if none of them turn up, what was the point? So the things I want to touch on really are social media, emails, and events. First of all, social media. Social media alone, forget Freshers' Fair, social media alone can bring in so many people to your club. If you have a very good active social media presence, people will know about your club before they've even got to Freshers' Fair. Join Freshers groups on Facebook or any other social media site that you can, and get plugging about your society or club. Have videos, have promotional things. Facebook is great, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube even, TikTok if you want. Whatever social media site floats your boat, do it, because you will be able to reach so many more people through social media than you will at a Freshers' Fair. You can also promote posts on social media, so it'll get out there to way more people. This can be useful if your club or society accepts people outside of the university. But yeah, I've known people who have missed clubs or societies they wanted to join at Freshers' Fair. They haven't seen them through social media or anything. They've only found them out because someone's come into like the lecture or workshop or something and said, hey, there's this thing going on. So you can never do enough to make sure that people know about you. Similarly, all those emails you collected, get an email list out and email people weekly. You don't need to go over the top, but just an email every week to let them know what's happening this week, maybe what happened last week. If there's anything big coming up in the future that they should know about in advance, let people know. And not just the people who are currently members, like once you get a bit later on, keep emailing everyone. I remember I did a society, first term of university. They sent out a weekly email, and even though I stopped going after a while because it conflicted with something else I would rather do more, because they kept sending me that regular email, I constantly felt like I could just turn up at any session and it would be fine. Like, I didn't feel like, oh, it's like several months in now, I can't go anymore. I felt, no, I've been getting these regular emails, I've been having this regular contact, I can turn up whenever I want. So making sure you're sending out regular emails, keeping that contact going. Don't let your social media or emails drop after Freshers Week is over. Keep going with it. And then finally, events. There isn't such a thing as too many of them at the beginning of term. Freshers are coming along, they're looking for friends. They want to be busy during the time because they don't know what else to do with themselves. So put on as many events as you can, have as many meetups or socials or trainings or whatever you have them as frequently as possible. Like, have your regular meetups over the first few weeks, maybe have a couple of extra ones on random days, just in case people are trying out other things that conflict with your usual times. If you can catch them on another time, they might decide, oh, this is better than that thing I went to on that other day, I'm gonna come to this instead. And have socials all the time. A couple a week isn't too many, depending on the size of your society or club. If you're quite a small club or society and your current members can't really stand up to doing like several socials a week plus all of your regular things, then maybe don't. But I know people who have multiple events and socials a week during the first few weeks of term, and their recruitment has done so well. Basically, you want to make them feel like they're missing out if they're not at one of your events. So having said, have as many as possible, don't have them for the sake of having them. Make sure they're good socials or events, meetups, trainings, whatever they are. Make sure that they're good because you want people coming back. You don't want them to turn up and be like, oh, that was a bit awful. Make everything count. But also, freshers want to make friends during the first few weeks. The best way to do that is to go out and socialise. Lots of socials equals lots of happy freshers, basically. And finally, make sure that all of the events and things are quite close for the freshers. Even if you normally have things a bit further away, try have some closer to start with, because a lot of the time, even things that you perceive as nearby because you know the area well can seem really far away for freshers. I remember I nearly didn't join the club that I ended up as president of because they trained at what I thought was, at the time, quite far away. But they had a taster session literally right next to my halls. So I went along to that, made a friend, who I then went back with when it was further away. So even if you normally meet up or train further away, have some sessions that are closer, because then it'll make people feel like they can turn up more. So that's all of my main tips regarding Freshers Fair for you. I hope you find them useful. I've drawn a lot of them from my own experience, so I hope that what was useful for me is also useful for you. And if you have any other tips or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below, because I'd love for this to be able to help as many people as possible. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye!